Welcome to the series of lecture on finite element analysis. In this part, we are going to solve the example problems for axisymmetric conditions. We are continuing the two-dimensional vector variable problem in this part also. In the earlier part, we discussed about what is axisymmetric condition and how to apply these axisymmetric conditions for the practical engineering problems. If any engineering problem in which geometry, material property, load and boundary condition all are symmetrical with respect to a common axis, then we can apply the axis symmetry condition. Mostly cylindrical or spherical or conical objects will come under this category. Examples also we have seen in the last part of the lecture. If the geometry of the component is similar to the solids which are formed by revolving the plane surface like cylinder, cone or sphere, then we can apply this axisymmetry condition provided all other symmetrical conditions should be satisfied: material property, load and boundary condition. In the earlier part, we derived the stress strain relationship matrix, that is constitutive matrix for this axisymmetric problem. For the axisymmetric problem, in the stress matrix we have three normal stresses: sigma r radial stress, sigma theta circumferential stress or hoop stress, sigma z is axial stress or longitudinal stress, then shear stress along the RZ plane. For these four stress values, we have 4 by 4 constitutive matrix like this, where D is equal to E divided by 1 plus nu, 1 minus 2 nu, and inside the matrix we have 1 minus nu, nu, 0 like this. So this is a 4 by 4 matrix. Then we derived the strain displacement matrix using the constant strain triangular element which has shape function n1, n2, n3 in terms of alpha, beta, gamma. We have the gradient matrix which is 4 by 6 matrix. Here we have the first row for the radial strain, second row for the circumferential strain, third row for the longitudinal strain, fourth row is for the shear strain. The displacement vector or displacement matrix should be written in the 6 by 1 form, that we have to know. And if you know the D matrix and the B matrix, we can solve problems in the axisymmetric condition. The first type of problem is using the stress displacement relationship. So this is the stress displacement relationship which is coming under type 1 problem. Stress matrix which is equal to product of D matrix and B matrix, and this product should be multiplied with the displacement matrix U. So this problem is a type 1 problem which can be solved easily without using the calculator. Then type 2 problem is finding the stiffness matrix for this axisymmetric element. For the stiffness matrix, this is the expression, already we derived it. B transpose multiplied with D multiplied with B, then we have to multiply with the volume of the element. Here for the axisymmetric element or ring element, the volume should be 2 pi r circumference of the cylinder multiplied with the area of the element. This is the point we have to remember. This is different from the plane stress and the plane strain condition. Size of the stiffness matrix, again it is going to be a 6 by 6 matrix because there are 6 degrees of freedom for this axisymmetric element. Then type 3 and 4 problems are using the element characteristic equation, where K stiffness matrix, U is the displacement matrix, F is the force matrix. Now in this part we are going to solve the problems under type 1 and type 2. Here I am showing some practical examples for the axisymmetric condition. If we solve axisymmetric problem, we are going to model only this longitudinal sectional plane. In any software, if you want to solve the axisymmetric type of problem, we will do finite element model only for this longitudinal cross sectional plane. This plane will be discretized by using the number of triangular or rectangular elements. So here triangular elements are used, and this example is for pressure vessel. This example is for analysis of tire pressure and stresses acting on the tire. This is the cross section used for modeling the tire. All these examples, they will discretize the cross sectional plane using this type of triangular element. Now for manual calculation purpose, we are going to consider any one of the element for solving the problem. So by using only one element, we are going to understand the concept of axisymmetric element. So here we are going to take up only one element for solving the axisymmetric problem. That element will have 2 degrees of freedom at each node. So this is a constant strain triangular element. Nodal parameter U1 W1, U2 W2, U3 W3, and if you see the nodal coordinates R1 Z1, R2 Z2 and R3 Z3, because this element is placed on the RZ plane. Theta direction is neglected for the axisymmetric problem. We are going to solve only element level problem in case of plane stress, plane strain or axisymmetric condition. Let us go to the example problem. The first problem we are considering, for the axisymmetric element shown in figure, the nodal displacement are given in this matrix form: 2, 1, 1, 1.5, 2.5, 0.5 transpose. So the transpose indicates it is a column matrix. Determine the element stresses. Assume Young's modulus E is 210 gigapascal. Poisson's ratio nu is 0.25, material property. Here you see the given element. The element coordinate axes are R and Z. Suppose in question, if they don't mention about this axisymmetric condition, by seeing this coordinate axis, you should understand it is a axisymmetric problem. If it is XY, then it should be a plane stress or plane strain condition. If it is RZ plane, then we have to understand that it is a axisymmetric problem. Coordinates for each node is given in this diagram. Node 1 30, 20, node 2 80, 20, node 3 50, 100. So all dimensions are in mm. I forgot to mention that this displacement also in terms of mm. So we will solve this problem by using the same procedure what we followed in the plane stress and the plane strain condition. So this is the type 1 problem we are going to see. First we have to write down the given nodal coordinates and then nodal displacement. Then we have to find the alpha, beta, gamma and 2a value. Then we have to establish the B matrix. Then we have to get the D matrix. After that we have to find the element stresses. This procedure we are going to follow here also. First step, write down the given nodal coordinates and the nodal displacement. So this is the given axisymmetric element. Node 1, we have nodal coordinates R1 Z1 is equal to 30, 20 mm. B1 displacement, this is U1. Displacement U1 is equal to 2 mm. W1 is 1 mm. So here it is given like this: 2, 1, 1, 1.5, 2.5, 0.5, right? So here 2 is U1, 1 is W1. This 1 is U2, 1.5 W2. This is U3, this is W3, like that you have to consider. So U1 2 mm, W1 is 1 mm. Here U2 is 1 mm, W2 is 1.5 mm. Here U3 is 2.5 mm, W3 is 0.5 mm. These are the nodal displacement. Now using this nodal coordinates, we are going to find the alpha, beta, gamma, 2a. Then we have to find the B matrix using this nodal coordinates value. Using the material property, we are going to find the D matrix. Let us see. So in axisymmetric condition or axisymmetric problem, we have to find the alpha values also. In case of plane stress and the plane strain condition, we found only beta and gamma values. I think you will remember in the previous part we have solved many problems in plane stress, plane strain condition. In those conditions, we will have only beta values and gamma values. Here we have to find the alpha values also. So what is the expression for alpha? alpha I is equal to Ri Zk minus Rk Zj. X will be replaced by R, Y will be replaced by Z. So alpha 1 is equal to R2 Z3 minus R3 Z2. Now substitute the coordinate values. We are getting alpha 1 as 7000 mm square. Here unit is mm square because the product of two coordinate R and Z, so mm square. Similarly, alpha 2 is equal to R3 Z1, R1 Z3. Then substituting the values, we are getting minus 2000 mm square. Then alpha 3, R1 Z2 minus R2 Z1. Substituting the coordinate values, alpha 3 is equal to minus 1000 mm square. Now coming to the beta value, expression for beta, beta I is equal to Zj minus Zk. Here instead of Y we are using Z. So beta 1 is equal to Z2 minus Z3. That 1, 2, 3 order we have to maintain always. Substituting the coordinate values, we are getting beta 1 as minus 80 mm. Beta 2 is Z3 minus Z1. Substituting the coordinates value, we will get 80 mm. Beta 3 is equal to Z1 minus Z2. Substituting the values, we are getting 0 mm. So beta is 0. Here you see one side of the element is horizontal, that is why we are getting one beta value as 0. Now coming to the gamma expression, gamma I is equal to minus of xj minus xk. Here it should be minus of rj minus rk. For gamma 1, minus of r2 minus r3. Substituting these values, we are getting minus 30 mm. Gamma 2 is equal to minus of r3 minus r1. Then substituting the value, we are getting minus 20 mm. Gamma 3 is equal to minus of r1 minus r2. After substituting the values, we are getting gamma 3 is equal to 50 mm. Now we have to find the 2a value. What is 2a? It is determinant of the coordinate matrix. So here coordinate matrix is 1 R1 Z1, 1 R2 Z2, 1 R3 Z3. Substitute the coordinate values and expand this matrix. We will get this 2a value as 4000 mm square. So area of the triangular element, so mm square. And for B matrix, we have to use the mean values of R and Z. So that also we are finding it first. So what is the mean value of R? This is R1 plus R2 plus R3. All the three nodal values of R divided by 3. We are finding the mean value as 160 by 3. Similarly, Z coordinates also added and divided by 3 for finding the mean Z value. So it is coming around 140 by 3. These values alpha, beta, gamma, 2a, mean values of R and Z all are used for finding the B matrix. Let us go to the next step, evaluation of the B matrix. For the axisymmetric problem, the B matrix, gradient matrix size will be 4 by 6 matrix. Here the first row for the radial strain epsilon r, second row for the circumferential strain epsilon theta, third row for the axial strain epsilon z, fourth row for the shear strain gamma rz. Already we derived this matrix B matrix, which is 1 by 2a, beta 1 0, beta 2 0, beta 3 0, like this. If you remember this matrix, then only we can solve the problem. What is the difference from the plane stress, plane strain and this problem means we have the second row, additional second row, which is a constant strain, circumferential strain epsilon theta. Here we have alpha 1 plus beta 1 r plus gamma 1 z by r, this term. This is a lengthy expression. We already found out beta 1 value, gamma 1 value, everything. Now what we do is, we will find these three term values separately, then we will substitute that in the B matrix. Coming to this one, the second row alone we are finding first alpha 1 plus beta 1 r plus gamma 1 z divided by r. This r is the mean radius. This r is also mean radius value we calculated. This z is also mean value, z value. So now alpha 1 we have calculated already, beta 1 value, then mean radius value, gamma 1 value, mean z value. This is the mean radius value. Substituting all this value and reducing this one, we are getting 25 mm for this term. Similarly, find the second one, alpha 2 plus beta 2 r plus gamma 2 az divided by r. Substitute all this value, alpha 2, beta 2, r, gamma 2, z and the r. Again we are getting this value also as 25 mm. Then find the third term in the second row, alpha 3 plus beta 3 r plus gamma 3 z divided by r. So this is the alpha 3 value, beta 3 0, then r value, gamma 3 z value, r value. On simplifying this, here also we are getting 25 mm. That means in the second row, all the three terms we are getting uniform or common term, 25, 25, 25 like this. Why we are getting like this? Because the second row is for the circumferential strain, which is defined as constant. So already we derived in the last part, epsilon theta is equal to simply u by r, which is a constant. So the circumferential strain will be constant in all the points. So that is why we are getting the values 25, 25, 25 like that. So this is one form of checking our alpha, beta, gamma values also. If you don't get these three terms common value, then we have to check our alpha, beta, gamma values and this r, z values. Now the second row we evaluated these three terms. We can establish this B matrix. Let us see the B matrix. This is 1 by 2a is 4000. This is beta 1, beta 2, beta 3. This is the term what we evaluated, 25 0, 25, then 25 0 like this. Then third row, this is the gamma 1, gamma 2, gamma 3. Now this is gamma 1, beta 1, gamma 2, beta 2, gamma 3, beta 3. Now we can simplify these terms. So we can take common term. Here 5 is common. So we can take 5 from the matrix. Out of this matrix we can take a 5. So 5 by 4000 we are getting. Here 80 become minus 16, 16, 0, 0, 0. Here 25 become 5, 5, 5 like this. 30 will become minus 6, 20 is minus 4. Here 50 is 10. So minus 6, minus 16, minus 4, 16, 10, 0. What is the unit for the B matrix? Always 1 by mm for the gradient matrix. Now this 5 by 4000 may be simplified as 1 by 800, right? 1 by 800 it would be, you can use for the further steps. Now the B matrix is evaluated. Next we have to find the D matrix, material matrix. Evaluation of D. For the axisymmetric problem, D matrix is equal to again a 4 by 4 matrix. E divided by 1 plus nu, 1 minus 2 nu, 1 minus nu, nu 0. Here nu 1 minus nu, 0, nu 1 minus nu 0, then 0 0, 1 minus 2 nu by 2. And substitute these Young's modulus in terms of Newton per mm square, because it is given as 210 gigapascal. So here we are using everything in terms of mm. So that gigapascal is converted into Newton per millimeter square. So 2.1 10 to the power 5. Then 1 plus nu, 1 minus 2 nu. And here 1 minus nu is coming as 0.75. Nu is 0.25. From this numerical value we can understand that contribution of this term will be more than this term. This is for the normal stress. First row is for calculation of sigma r, right, radial stress. So the first part is contributing more in case of this radial stress than the other. This is theta direction, this is the z direction, this is shear, no shear component. These two terms are due to the Poisson's effect, that you have to understand. So this is linear strain component, this is lateral strain component. That is why this linear strain component has more contribution in this radial direction. That we have to understand the physical meaning. Here also this is the linear component of the theta direction. This is the linear component for the z direction, which has more contribution, 3 times more. Here also we can take the common term which is common here. 0.25 is common. We can take that 0.25 outside the matrix. Taking 0.25, then you will get 0.75 as the 3. This is 1, 1 like that. Then after simplifying these terms, 0.25 should be multiplied with this one. Finally, we are getting 84 into 10 power 3, 3110, 1310, 1130, 001. What is the unit for the D matrix? It is Newton per mm square. So always we are trying to keep the elements of the matrix in whole number for making the matrix multiplication easy. Now we know the B matrix and the D matrix. We can find the stresses, element stresses. Evaluation of the element stresses. Sigma matrix is equal to product of D matrix, B matrix and U matrix. U matrix is given in the problem. Now D matrix, here we are writing the D matrix 84 into 10 power 3, 3110. This is what we evaluated now. And this is the B matrix 1 by 800 and 4 by 6 matrix. And this is the U matrix given in the question. Now for solving this type 1 problem, we can first multiply these two matrices. Now this is a 4 by 6 matrix and this is a 6 by 1 matrix. Multiplying these two will give 4 by 1 matrix. Then that 4 by 1 matrix may be multiplied with this 4 by 4 matrix. Then we can easily find the force stress value. Without using the calculator, we are able to do it manually. Type 1 problem is more easy in plane stress, plane strain as well as the axisymmetry condition. Now we multiply these two matrices first, then the resultant matrix is going to be multiplied with the D matrix. You will see this is the product of this B matrix and the U matrix. Then this 4 by 1 matrix will be multiplied with this 4 by 4 matrix. Finally, we will get this 4 by 1 matrix as the resultant matrix. Sigma matrix, what is sigma? Sigma are radial stress. First one is radial stress, minus 2887.5 Newton per millimeter square. Sigma theta 6247.5 Newton per millimeter square. Then sigma z minus 997.5 Newton per millimeter square, and the shear stress 1785 Newton per millimeter square. 1 Newton per millimeter square is equal to 1 megapascal, that you have to write down. The type 1 problem is very easy for solving this axisymmetry condition. We can multiply the matrices without using the calculator. Now we will do the type 2 problem, that also we will see in this part. Example 2. For the axisymmetric element shown in figure, determine the element stiffness matrix. Assume E equal to 210 gigapascal. Nu Poisson ratio is 0.25. So we are considering the same element what we used for the example 1. So this is the RZ plane. Node 1 30 20, node 2 80 20, node 3 50 100 mm. We are considering the same element we used for the example 1 for the time constraint purpose. So now directly we can take the B matrix and D matrix what we derived for the example 1. So straight away we can go to the stiffness matrix step. Here this is the B matrix we derived in the last example. So 1 by 800 minus 16 0 16 0 0 like this. This is a 4 by 6 matrix we obtained in the last problem. So unit is 1 by n. Similarly, constitutive matrix D matrix we derived in the last example. 84 into 10 power 3, 3110. Like this is a 4 by 4 matrix. Unit for this is Newton per mm square. Now we can use this B matrix and D matrix because the same element we are using here, type 2 problem also. Now we will go to the stiffness matrix evaluation. K matrix will be equal to B transpose multiply with D, then we have to multiply again with B, then volume of the element 2 pi r into A. First we will find the B transpose into D. Here this is the constant. B transpose will be a 6 by 4 matrix and this is the D matrix 4 by 4 matrix. If you multiply these two matrices, we will get again a 6 by 4 matrix. What is the main drawback here is, for this matrix multiplication we cannot use the calculator, because in calculator we can multiply up to 3 by 3 matrix only. This 3 by 4 matrix cannot be used in the calculator. So that is why in case of axisymmetric problem we have to do all the matrix multiplication manually. It will take more time and you have to do it very carefully. That is why type 2, type 3 problem in axisymmetric condition should be avoided in examinations. For plane stress, plane strain condition, any type of problem we can choose, but for axisymmetric condition only type 1 problem is preferable. If you want to get this resultant matrix 6 by 4, 6 by 4 means we'll have 24 elements of the matrix. First row multiplied with this first column, we will get the first element. Similarly, first row multiplied with the second column, second element. Like that you have to form each row. Then if you take the second row, we will get a second row of the resultant matrix. Like that we have to do for all the 6 rows. Since we have some zeros in the matrix, the multiplication will be somewhat easy. After doing this matrix multiplication manually, this will be the resultant matrix I am showing here. So this 105 is for this one, 84 in 10 power 3 divided by 800 become 105, and we are doing this matrix multiplication row and column like this, and we are getting this 6 by 4 matrix. Now this is the resultant of B transpose multiplied with the D. This resultant matrix should be multiplied with a what? B matrix again. Then only we will get a K matrix. This is the constant for the B matrix. This is the volume of the element 2 pi r. This is the mean radius 160 by 3. The area of this element is 2a is 4000. So we are using 2000 here. So this is the constant part. This is the resultant matrix obtained by multiplying B transpose and D. Again we are multiplying this B matrix here. So this 6 by 4 multiplied with 4 by 6 going to give the 6 by 6 matrix. Again this matrix sizes cannot be solved by using the calculator. For getting this 6 by 6 matrix, that means 36 elements of the matrix, it should be arrived by doing manual multiplication. First row, first column, then you will get the first element of the 6 by 6 matrix like this. First row, second column, first row, third column. Like that we can get the elements of the first row. Then taking the second row, we will get the elements of the second row. Then third row should give the third row of the stiffness matrix like this. So we have to do it carefully. After doing this multiplication, final matrix will be like this. This is the constant part, 87965 is this one, this constant part. Then this is the 6 by 6 matrix obtained by multiplying these two matrices. We know the properties of the stiffness matrix. In the major diagonal, we should not get any non-zero, non-negative number. It should be a square and a symmetric, that is symmetricity we have to check it after getting all these values. When we do it manually to save time, what we can do is, when you do this multiplication, first get this major diagonal element, then we will get the elements of the either upper diagonal or lower diagonal element by the multiplication. By that way we can save time. For this lower diagonal, only for checking purpose, we can randomly do this multiplication, whether we are getting this symmetricity or not, like that. By that way, we can reduce some time during the examination, I am telling. Otherwise, we have to get all the elements using this row and column multiplication. So this is the type 2 problem in axisymmetric condition. Since the type 3, type 4 problem will take more time, so normally we don't advise to take up this type 2, type 3, type 4 problem for axisymmetric condition. So we can concentrate only on the type 1 problem for the axisymmetric. Suppose if they ask to find the stiffness matrix for the axisymmetric element, we have to know the procedure how to evaluate the stiffness matrix. This should be a least preferred one during the examination. In this part, we solved two problems, type 1, type 2 problem for the axisymmetric condition. Thank you for your passion listening.